The following episode of the SpongePod is brought to you by the Krusty Krab. Now, Tim, when I talk to you about institutions, what do you think of?
I think of like government institutions, maybe like governor's office, Supreme Court, stuff like that.
Okay. Now, when I talk to you about institutions of food, what companies come to mind?
I would definitely say like a McDonald's is one. You know, they've been around forever. Burger King's been around forever. Like stuff that really lasts the test of time.
Okay, so the test of time is your key here. Mm-hmm. So why don't you think of the Krusty Krab?
You know, I don't know. Krusty Krab's been around, I think, for a really long time, but
yeah, quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you about the Krusty Krab. Founded by legendary Eugene H. Krabs and known for its secret Krabby Patty recipe, the Krusty Krab is a must-stop burger institution in the heart of Bikini Bottom.
What types of food do they serve at the Krusty Krab?
Great written pivot, my first mate. They have all kinds of food that will quench your underwater cheeseburger hunger. Normally known for their burgers, the Krusty Krab is also known for their legendary coral bits and their Diet Dr. Kelp. The Krusty Krab is a reliable source for all your premium dining needs.
Has Guy Fieri declared the Krusty Krab as a stop on Flavortown yet?
I'm sure he needs like some snorkel, gear to get down there. But I would guarantee that, all the food I've had from the Krusty Krab has been pretty flavorful. So I would definitely think that it's on the bottom of the bucket. Or it's in the bottom of the bucket in Flavortown. That's what I would think he would designate it. I mean, I don't know about you.
So I will ask, like, I know that I know, because we're friends and we've talked about it off air, but how do you get your food from the Krusty Krab? Tell the audience how you get your food from the Krusty Krab.
You just have to snorkel down there. You have to, there are all kinds of places to go in Bikini Bottom. I mean, it's basically like, a touristy area. It's like Maine, if you will. You can go there. You can, enjoy the shops around the area. You can go surfing. You can meet Larry. There are all kinds of different things to do while you're down in Bikini Bottom. But make sure when you go down there on your next trip to visit the Krusty Krab for all your going to be Flavortown needs. Welcome to the SpongePod, the unofficial podcast of SpongeBob SquarePants, where we overanalyze every single episode and get down to the bikini bottom of your fan theories. I'm your host and in-house SpongeBob expert, Eric. Are you ready, Tim?
Aye, Captain.
Oh, Timmy, it's Saturday. What's so bummer about Saturday?
I know, I sound so sad. I just must have added those filters. My sad filter again.
Yeah, this joke is the joke that keeps on rolling, right? We can keep going back to the filters, and I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, are you ready, Tim? I can't hear you. That's the line. I can't hear you.
Aye, Captain. Okay.
All right. At some point, I think a joke is just dead, and you just let it die peacefully. And we're not those type of podcasters. I have to say, if you aren't at all amused by that joke at all, then you should just unsubscribe. I'm just joking. Please stay subscribed. We want to make sure our advertisers keep us. Anyway, how you doing, Tim? It's February 24th. How's it going?
Doing good. I really loved this episode of SpongeBob. I was laughing so hard when I was watching it.
You were snorting. You were throwing stuff. It was great. Yeah. This is the first time you've seen this episode, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
As far as I know.
That was a good old fashioned Owen Wilson wow there. Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your Saturday morning cartoons. I hope everyone else has as well. And we're here to overanalyze, everything that you're seeing. Make sure that we bring it some hard-hitting overanalysis to your podcast day. Anyway, I wanted to start off today with a bit of a happy moment. Today, I go to the gym and do my Zumba class every Saturday morning. Shout out to the ladies at LA Fitness. And I got, we were finished with the Zumba class. I went right to the sauna, kind of sweat out a few more of those toxins from the day before. And on my way out, one of the ladies came up to me and she said, Eric, I really like your moves. You're doing good. And I was I have to say, I've never felt better about myself than when, mom-aged lady came up to me after a Zumba class and said that she thought I did really well. And it kind of made me feel good, and it made me like want to come back and do my job properly. It made me want to, basically, get everything in order. And it just kind of reminded me as I looked back at the gym, everybody has their headphones on. They're kind of just self-absorbed. They're kind of, focused on their own thing. They're not really too observant or, receptive to the people around them. And I just kind of wanted to, give you a bit of an encouraging thought, maybe take the headphones off, maybe listen to SpongePod with your buddies. You don't have to listen to it by yourself. And when you're at a gym, feel free to give a guy a high five. Feel free to, tell them about the SpongePod, this awesome podcast you listen to while you're working out at LA Fitness. Make sure to, be encouraging to other people, I think is what I'm trying to say. And that was ultimately, I think, a pitfall in this episode, Pizza Delivery. Today we are covering the episode Pizza Delivery, in which SpongeBob and Squidward attempt to deliver a pizza. I just think, at the end of the day, I think if Squidward was a bit more encouraging to SpongeBob and, otherwise, likewise the other side, I think they both would have had a bit of a better time during their job, throughout the episode. I mean, what do you think, Tim?
Yeah, definitely. Especially since, never mind. I was going to spoil something. But
Timmy,
I know
we are a non-spoilers podcast.
I almost did, but I didn't.
You didn't. That was a good reflex to kind of pull it back.
Pull back, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get into the episode before Timmy spoils anything else. Let's get back into the episode. First off, I just want to say check out our Twitter and our Facebook at the SpongePod on both sites. Also, shoot us an email at thespongepod@gmail.com. If you have any questions that you'd like for us to cover, or any ideas or any thoughts, shoot us an email. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to kind of interact. And also at the end of this episode, we do have a pretty big reveal. I mean, how big do you think this reveal is, Timmy?
Massive. A massive. I was trying to think. It's as big as the Krusty Krab itself. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Which is a very big institution, as we heard from our ad before.
Big restaurant.
Yeah. No, it's a massive reveal. We're going to try to open up some new lanes for the SpongePod. So make sure to stick around. Check our Facebook and our Twitter for those updates. And we'll just let that play out. We'll introduce it when the time comes. So let's go right into the first act of again, Pizza Delivery, the 9th episode of SpongeBob. SpongeBob and Squidward are closing up the Krusty Krab when they receive a phone call. Mr. Krabs takes the call and takes an order from a customer who is requesting a pizza delivery. Eugene accepts the order to the disarray of Squidward, who laments that the Krusty Krab does not actually serve pizza. Eugene quickly makes the pizza pie and gives it off to Squidward and his nemesis SpongeBob to deliver. After a long assessment of his driving situations, in a brief soliloquy about the honor of delivering the first ever Krusty Krab pizza, SpongeBob and Squidward hit the road to deliver their pizza for their lucky customer. Now, the first thing that comes to mind for me is, when you're up here, you're kind of in the above ground, as we call it. Obviously there are some overtime and driving laws that take place if you were to drive for your company. And a lot of companies actually supply their own cars, just to kind of avoid the issues of driving. First and foremost, do you think that they have any driving laws in Bikini Bottom? Do you think that was kind of an issue? Because they kind of jumped right in. Like Squidward was kind of, forced into this position by his boss. I mean, that seems like kind of an HR nightmare, up here.
I do think knowing Eugene H. Krabs as as we do, as we learn about him throughout the series, like he's probably cut like as many corners as possible. So I would wonder if he even like has an HR department.
Oh,
like,
there's no way. His HR department is like an app. You know what I mean? Like it's like an application on his bubble, web technology. You know what I mean? Like it is nothing more than like a $2 subscription a year where he can just type in a Google. It might be Google. His HR basically might be Google. Yeah. He might be doing his own HR for sure. And the other thing, like whose car is that? You know what I mean? Like it's not, it can't be SpongeBob. SpongeBob, of course, has a unicycle. Squidward, we've never seen Squidward drive either. I mean, did they just steal a car and, essentially, drive it off?
Yeah, it's someone just left it at the Krusty Krab and they just took it. For sure.
Did you find any, fan theories on this?
Yeah, I got one here from Sherbert Lemon 229 on Facebook. He or she says, how is it possible for Mr. Krabs to make a pizza with only cheeseburger material? We see that the pizza has pepperoni and mushrooms on it. Are those standard on a Krabby Patty? And where did he get the box? Does he just have boxes that say pizza lying around? I get the desire to make a quick buck, but what would the quality of said pizza even be?
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't even know. I mean, that's a really great question because he does kind of just whip it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like what does that look like in real life? Like what's the consistency of it?
Yeah. Okay. Wait, hold on. I've got an idea. So what we do is we do a video. So the big reveal of this episode is that we are opening up on YouTube. So you are going to be able to listen to the SpongePod on YouTube. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a video and basically try to create a Krusty Krab pizza out of purely just, Krabby Patty materials. Mm-hmm. How does that sound, Tim?
I think that sounds like a great idea. I mean, if we really are like the SpongePod and we're really getting down to...
We got to test this stuff out.
You're right.
Oh, yeah. What are you doing tonight, by the way?
Sounds like I'm making a Krusty Krab pizza.
Yeah, we're going to make the Krusty Krab pizza video. Make sure to check out our YouTube. It is the SpongePod at youtube.com. Make sure to check out the SpongePod to check out that video. Also, we're going to be posting it on our social media, so don't worry. We will have it everywhere. But yeah, make sure to stick around. We'll actually play the audio from that video as our segment for this episode. Something else that kind of brought that was kind of brought up to me is like, have you ever thought about ordering something that you're pretty sure the company doesn't have? Because I mean, and I'm talking specifically from like a food perspective, because going to Target to see if they have like rechargeable batteries for your car or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it, I don't know why you'd have rechargeable batteries for your car, but like having some, obscure product, that's a different thing because Target is pretty open-ended. They have a lot of different things. But however, if you were to go to like a pizza shop and say, hey, do you guys like have any ice cream? Do you have just vanilla ice cream? Do you have like, pumpkin spice ice cream, all those pumpkin spice ice cream lovers. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, have you ever like thought about going to a restaurant that, sells American type food and asking for like, lo mein, like some Chinese food?
That's actually an awesome idea. I have done something similar to this actually.
Okay.
At Steak and Shake. So as we've established on the podcast, I am vegetarian. Yeah. And they used to have
an avid Steak and Shaker.
I love Steak and Shake so much. So
this is like your number one, like your favorite place to be in the world.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. And I was so excited a couple of years ago because they came out with this thing called the Veggie Melt. Okay. So if you've ever been a Steak and Shake, it's just a melt.
Which again, to me, sounds just horrendous. Like to me, that just sounds like you're eating your shoe. But continue.
It was so good. Like I can't remember. It's like pepper jack cheese, chipotle sauce, guacamole, mushrooms, tomato. It was so good.
Awesome.
but they discontinued it. Like they stopped.
Oh, no.
They took it off the menu, and
they realized that only one person in Indianapolis is eating this burger, and that like it was just not making any money for them.
That's
like,
true.
The processing of the shoes and of the rubber that they had to use to make that veggie melt, like they just realized like there's just one person in Indianapolis, and he's it.
That's true.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me though is like I think if I remember correctly, I think they have all the ingredients there.
Okay.
But they just took it off the menu. And so I say my local Steak and Shake, like it's like a local diner, but my local
it is
Steak
a
and
local
Shake,
diner to you. Everybody in that whole Steak and Shake knows you.
That's true. Yeah.
You pretty much have funded, like, I feel like you funded that Steak and Shake. Like you're like a part owner of that Steak and Shake.
Yeah. At this point, like we've used it enough. So and I don't do this anymore because we used to get the same waitress as well. It's the one over on Southport.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steak and Shake on Southport.
Yeah.
But we used to.
They're not even sponsoring us, technically.
We should try to get them to sponsor us,
for sure. No, we can make actual money.
And so we used to get the same waitress. And so even after they took the veggie melt off, she would be like, "Do you want the veggie melt?" I'd be like, "Yes, please." So
nice.
I haven't had one in a while, but sometimes I try to recreate it. I basically say like, "Can you give me a grilled cheese except for switch out the American cheese for pepper jack cheese and add mushrooms, onion, guacamole, onion." Like I just give them this whole list of stuff.
Wow.
And they do not like it. So I don't do that
like
anymore.
You doing that?
They hate when I do that. So
oh, wow.
I don't do that anymore.
This is really rude, but you do it anyway because we're Americans and that's how we live.
And I want my veggie melt.
Yeah, and you want your veggie melt. Anyway, that was a lot of analysis for Act 1. Let's move right into Act 2. Upon being given the daunting task of driving, SpongeBob royally struggles to get the boat on the road. After backing up way too long, the two find themselves completely out of gas and stuck in the middle of nowhere. When SpongeBob expresses his worry that the pizza is getting cold, Squidward flips his tentacles and smacks the boat, thus waking up the engine and causing it to drive off without our two heroes. Now, stuck without a boat in the middle of nowhere, the two local employees trek out to deliver the pizza on foot. SpongeBob then starts to sing his classic song about the Krusty Krab pizza, and then hears of a car coming and uses his original pioneer method to attempt to signal a hitchhiking ride with the truck, only for the truck to barely miss our hero, crashing into it. The two continue on foot, singing as the wind starts to blow the pizza box away. The two get stuck underwater in an underwater tornado, not a tomato, an underwater tornado, and get blown away to an indistinguishable location. Our heroes are certainly in peril now. Now, I think the first thing I would kind of want to talk about is, I didn't really write it in the summary, but Squidward actually saves SpongeBob in this episode. Like of all the episodes that we've seen before, Squidward is normally like this not horrible, but he's normally this like anti-hero. You know what I mean? He's not like someone you openly hate, but he certainly isn't like a good force. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he like dives in front of the speeding truck to save SpongeBob, So it kind of makes me wonder like who the enemy of this episode is.
Yeah. I really love this episode in that sense because it's like Squidward and SpongeBob really like bond through adversity.
Yeah.
They bond through their adversity.
Yeah. And I guess the adversity kind of comes from Mother Nature,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It creates a lot of like really touching moments, especially towards the end. Like you've really like dealt with this problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird to get such depth from like a SpongeBob episode, but it's kind of some emotional.
But it's
depth.
right there. Yeah, and during this part, as we praise Squidward, I just kind of want to take a step back. During this section as well, Squidward kind of drops the revelation that he does not care about the customer. Mm-hmm. Now, this isn't actually much of a revelation. I feel like SpongeBob freaks out about this, but I feel like it is so apparent that Squidward like does not care about the customer at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I love during this little part that, so SpongeBob like he gasps or whatever. He's like, I can't believe Squidward. And like at the same time, like the wind stops at the same time.
Yeah.
The wind stop. Like even Mother Nature is surprised that Squidward is.
Yeah. She's taken aback.
Yeah.
It's confusing. Yeah. Anyway, did you find a theory on this?
Yeah, this one was on MySpace. So I had to go dig in a little bit, but this is from Bob the Gilder 232 on MySpace. Here she says, this is the SpongeBob universe making a choice to betray the two. Just as we see in several shows like Planet Earth, when a pack of monkeys have to endure Mother Nature to survive, these two must endure the harsh environment to deliver the first ever Krusty Krab pizza.
Interesting. So again, like it's almost like Mother Nature versus, Squidward and SpongeBob.
This actually also kind of made me think about like the geography of Bikini Bottom.
Yeah.
Because so is Bikini Bottom is it like Las Vegas? Like, is it in the middle of nowhere? Like it's a big city in the middle of nowhere. Like there's no other cities around.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense. I mean, they pretty much, it took them no time to be completely lost. You know what I mean? And it would take me, there's a park near me, but I would be able to get out of the park in half an hour.
Right.
It took them no time to be completely lost. And again, a tornado does kind of sweep them away.
Oh, that's
but
true.
At the same time, you know what I mean? Like, they obviously arrive to their customer's location. And later on, just a quick spoiler, the customer's location wasn't very far.
Right.
So, in a different way, there's kind of an element of obviously they took one wrong turn and they're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I guess it is probably in a Las Vegas type area. I mean, I don't know. We only know a lot about Bikini Bottom from SpongeBob. We don't necessarily know a whole lot about the surrounding area. I think the last thing I want to say about this is in what shape must that pizza be in? I mean, at no point have they just treated it delicately. At no point do I want any of my delivery men to kind of treat the pizza in the way they treated the pizza. Not that it was their fault, but it was definitely, just an adverse situation. I mean, I feel like if either of them had some sort of problem, all of it goes back to Mr. Krabs. You know what I mean? Like if Squidward broke one of his tentacles, or if, SpongeBob gets a rip in his sponge, they could sue Mr. Krabs, and that'd be pretty big lawsuit.
Right. They are technically at work.
They are
delivering this pizza.
Yeah. So moving right along to the third act, after finally realizing that they are in fact doomed, being lost in the wilderness, SpongeBob uses his pioneering ability to assume that the town is a particular way. Squidward refutes this knowledge and goes the opposite way. When SpongeBob's insistent singing finally gets to Squidward, the curmudgeon squid resorts to attempting to eat the pizza. Squidward attempts to use the tastiness of this pizza to lure SpongeBob's sense of pride towards customer service, but SpongeBob doesn't have it. And after an intense chase scene, the two finally find a rock. SpongeBob uses the classic pioneer technique method to drive the rock to the customer's house, only to greet the customer and learn that they forgot about the customer's Diet Dr. Kelp. After the customer rips SpongeBob a new one, our hero is distraught and Squidward attempts to make him feel better. Squidward shoves the pizza in the face of the customer and comes back to SpongeBob, saying the customer loved their service. The two hop right back onto the rock and make it back in time for work the next morning. So there's a lot to analyze here. I mean, who do you think forgot the drink, initially? Do you think it was Mr. Krabs? Do you think, he failed to write it down, just being so excited to make some money at the end of the day? Or do you think it was SpongeBob and, Squidward? Do you think they essentially, forgot the drink, just trying to be done with their work day, try to get on the road and try to be as fast as they can? Or do you think the customer actually, because a whole day, it seems like a whole day and a half kind of passes during this delivery. Do you think the customer completely forgot that he didn't order his Diet Dr. Kelp?
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously I think those are our three options, and it could have really been any of them. Yeah. I think initially right off the bat, my mind goes to the Mr. Krabs, because almost every time that
someone has forgotten something of mine, I feel like it's rarely me who has forgotten to say it. You know what I mean? Like if it's like right on the top of my tongue like that, like it was for this customer, you know, it seems kind of implausible that anyone else would have forgotten it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah. I do think, as you mentioned, Mr. Krabs is like so excited to like get this pizza at the door and make like any additional money that he just forgets about the drink.
He's just caring about the bottom line. That's all he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you think about this part, Tim?
I love this whole episode. I love this part where, as just a small side, I loved SpongeBob singing his different versions of singing the Krusty Krab pizza song.
He goes into like a hard rock and then like a 60s rock. Like he does all these different like versions of it. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
There's like a little rap one in
he's
there.
He's a talented singer.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah.
He's multi-talented, but
he's a real lord of the Bikini Bottom. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I also love how they use the rock to travel. Like, he's just so excited about this rock. And Squidward's like, what are you talking about? And I was thinking about this as I was watching the episode. And I don't want to disparage the writers of SpongeBob at all, but I just imagine they had dug themselves so deep into this hole of like Squidward and SpongeBob are lost. They're like, how are we going to get out of it? We're like, what if SpongeBob just drives a rock? Like, and so then he just gets on top of this rock and uses the invisible controls to just drive a rock back, which is pretty great. I don't even
want to get into the physics of this because I'm not a physical, I'm not a physics person. But on the other side, I mean, it kind of makes sense that like you see things kind of floating around down the water. Like it kind of makes sense that maybe like they figured out a way, to use the rock and the gravitational forces that are, underwater to make it move,
We get some thrust behind the rock somehow.
That kind of leads me to my point. Like, what else do you think we have to learn from the pioneers? Like, do you think that like if we just had the pioneers teach us how to live, do you think that SpongeBob would ever get into any sort of issues?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about like maybe even like the construction of SpongeBob's house. Like, did he use pioneer techniques to like make his house out of like an already existing pineapple, maybe?
Yeah, wow.
Or not at all, but
wow.
SpongeBob's someone I would like to have around if I ever went on like a camping trip.
Yeah, that opinion just earned you another Owen Wilson. Wow.
That's 2 for 2.
Yeah, you were on it today. All right, so that was our analysis of pizza delivery. Let us now hear a word from our trusty sponsors. Hey, Timmy, would you consider yourself a tough boy?
A tough boy? No, I don't think so.
Well, what about a thug? You a thug, my homie?
I also no to that.
Okay, well, if you'd like to test how tough or thug you are, as well as you want to get the key to the petty wagon, make sure to check out the Thug Tug. It looks a lot like the remains of the Titanic, and it's also a really difficult name to say in a podcast. But make sure to check out this place if you'd like to check out your thug toughness.
So what do they have on the menu? Like, what do they have to eat?
When you go to the Thug Tug, make sure to talk to the owner, Victor, and tell him that the SpongePod sent you. He'll have an extra special tough challenge for you.
Ooh, a tough challenge. Should we tell the people what the tough challenge is?
I don't want to do that. That way they don't, that way we don't have to think of a challenge, as well as they don't have to be spoiled to the delightful challenge that would happen at the Thug Tug.
Yeah, you don't want anyone cheating or getting any sort of
they don't want to work treatment out and try to make, themselves even more thug for the Thug Tug. But yeah, make sure you toughen up at the Thug Tug.
I wonder if the writers of SpongeBob had some problems with being tough.
All right, SpongePod fam, Today we have a video we'd like to play in the place of our segment. Make sure to check out. So we're just going to play the audio on here, obviously, since this isn't a video podcast. You don't want to see what Tim looks like right now. You should be thankful that it's just a purely audio podcast. But make sure you check out the SpongePod at YouTube to check out the visuals. You want to see our faces, correct?
I want the people to see our faces.
Yeah, it's about time to check out our faces. So let's go ahead and play the video. Go ahead and roll the thing. All right, welcome SpongePod family to our YouTube page. Welcome everybody. I know you haven't seen our face yet, so there's our face.
Ta-da! My face.
I'm Eric, and this is...
And I'm Tim.
Oh yeah, what's up? Welcome to our YouTube page. And we wanted to introduce the YouTube with a pretty funny video. I hope this is funny. If it's not funny, then whatever. Don't have too many expectations for us. Basically, with this episode, we see Mr. Krabs concoct a pizza kind of out of thin air. And so we got a person commenting in from MySpace basically asking, how did he come up with a pizza with the materials of what he had at the Krusty Krab? And that's a valid question because obviously it's very difficult to make a pizza in general, much less with cheeseburger material. So we thought for our first YouTube video, we would demonstrate how you can make a pizza with just Krusty Krabby Patty materials. We have our classic buns. We have a few hamburgers. We have some lettuce. We have some cheese, some tomatoes, some mushrooms. We have pretty much everything that you could want on a cheeseburger or a Krabby Patty. Right. So let's go ahead and get into it. What do you think?
I think so.
All right. So you had experience with pizza making, right?
Dude, that's true. I was very bad at it.
Yeah, I wasn't great either. I actually worked for a pretty big pizza company when I was a youth. All right, so I don't know. I mean, is this a decent crust?
Maybe like one more maybe on the edge here.
Yeah, we could do that. Here, how about you do that? And I'll just go ahead and look at this camera and say, if you want to do more with the SpongePod on YouTube, click this link below. Hopefully by the time we post this video, I learned how to add links to YouTube videos, and this will show you to where our podcast is. So if you're just catching us on YouTube, this is where we are. Let's make the sauce. I think we just do a blend of ketchup and mayo.
Okay. Mostly tomato, a little bit of mayo.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just, douse this baby. Now we are kind of paying our cameraman via food here, so I just kind of want to do a roll call. Do you like veggies on your pizza?
No.
No, you do not. Okay. Do you, Michael? No. Okay. And then what about you, Coop? That's a maybe. Let's just do half of it with veggies and half of it.
Do half, yeah.
Yeah. And really, guys, the key here isn't necessarily the ingredients. The key here is definitely the bake.
And make sure that you're having fun.
I think that's the most important part. All right, well that looks pretty decent. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it looks good? Are we ready to bake? I wonder if Rachel Ray asks her camera people if the ingredients look good. Yes. So we're probably only going to throw it in for a few minutes here.
Already sizzling.
Already sizzling. So a trick I learned on the Great British Bake Off was if you put your ear to the oven, sometimes you can hear the pizza if it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and try.
A few moments later.
Okay, so to confirm, I'm not hearing anything. I have pretty decent hearing, I think.
Eventually.
All right, so I think the thing's done. It took a lot longer than what Eugene took, but overall, I think the baby looks done.
I can smell the bread.
Yeah, it smells interesting. That's for sure. This smells pretty strange. All right, so let's go ahead and try it, I guess.
All right.
I mean, why not?
Mine's falling apart.
Mine is too. That's a sign of good pizza, though.
Okay, not too bad. That sauce turned out okay. I like it. I kind of like it.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It reminds me more of cheeseburgers than it does pizza specifically.
Sure.
You know, it's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It's also burly. I think with the meat, the meat makes it feel burly.
The mushrooms are good. You know what? I think because we put both tomatoes and ketchup on it.
Okay.
The tomato is very strong.
Yeah, there is the accent of tomato. I will say we probably shouldn't have baked the lettuce. Anyway, let's see what the crowd thinks of our pizza.
Well, here I go. Tastes like a cheeseburger.
This is so weird. Yeah, right. All right, here we go. Yeah, the ketchup's real weird.
For the non-audio audience, this is the guy who we always mention at the end. He's the man, the myth, the milky Michael G.
Oh, let me get this hair off.
It's as weird as you think it's gonna be.
Just kind of like a bad cheeseburger. Like it's like not bad tasting, but it's weird. It's kind of addicting.
Right?
I gotta go back.
Like I don't want to eat it, but it is a cheeseburger.
All right, guys. So this is a SpongePod first. We're gonna see what my dog Biscuit thinks of this. This is Biscuit. If you don't know, what do you want? Do you want one of the veggie parts?
Maybe.
Use your words, buddy. All right, there. Let's see what he thinks. Oh,
Big fan.
He likes it.
does he like the tomato? Oh yeah. All right, so everyone tried it. Our initial reaction collectively was, that's all right. And then we found there was a phenomena between all of us that basically we could not put it down. So while we initially thought this is kind of a weird phenomena because of the ketchup, and this isn't a pizza, our brain immediately went to cheeseburger and we were immediately okay with it. So I'm glad you guys stuck around and watched till the end of this video. The first person to shoot me an email saying, I watched the video and I want to try the Krusty Krab pizza, we will not send you the Krusty Krab pizza because this was too expensive for any of that kind of a joke. But we will certainly get you on the SpongePod. So make sure you check out the SpongePod. It's on Apple Podcasts and all the other podcast retailers, apps, whatever. And make sure you check out the SpongePod. We release it every Saturday. And this was a pretty good video, I think.
I like it. This was I had a surprisingly good reaction to the pizza. I kind of enjoyed my little slice. So,
it works.
Yeah.
So, and Mamma Mia! All right. Thank you for joining us today on the SpongePod. I'm glad that we could open up our YouTube channel. That'll be pretty exciting. I'm not sure how many videos we're going to post on there. We're going to post every episode of the SpongePod. And you should see that all the episodes of the SpongePod are readily available to you via YouTube now. But yeah, I don't know how many videos we're going to do, but we're going to, keep doing the SpongePod. And anytime a good video comes to mind, we'll go ahead and do it. Shoot us a message on Gmail, or the SpongePod@gmail.com if you'd like to see a video. Do you have any video ideas, for the future, Tim?
We could try to drive a boat, see if that works.
Oh gosh, yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I would really enjoy doing that. And then if it doesn't work, we can kind of contribute to the underwater, boats that they use in Bikini Bottom.
Exactly, by sinking it.
Yeah, so we would do well either way. We would either be making a video or we would contribute to the commerce down in Bikini Bottom. Anyway, thank you for joining us on the SpongePod. Our video producer is Andy Davis. Our data research is by Joseph Hoke. Associate producer is Wilson Massey. Creative producer is August McCleary. Our childcare producer is Christina Crosley. Our office assistant is Zach Cooper. And our audio engineer is Jessica Brummett. A special shout out to the swaggy Nate Wagner for helping us out with the video. He was actually who the video producer is supposed to be, but I wrote in a fake name anyway. Music is by DJ Eugene, and music and cover art are by the man, the Milky, the Michael G. Just want to kind of drop some suspense on Michael. He made a quick appearance on the video there, didn't he?
His face is also in the video.
Yeah, you'll be able to see it. Anyway, just to kind of close this out. Hey, yo, Adrian, we did it. We overanalyzed another episode of the SpongePod. Come on, SpongePod. I totally messed up SpongeBob's name, but it's because I'm doing a really horrible Rocky impersonation.
Yeah. What if that's like Rocky 10?
Rocky 10 is when they're watching.
They overanalyze the SpongeBob.
Yeah,
SpongeBob.
We give them the idea from the SpongePod. You know, you heard it here first. The SpongePod is going to be an inspiration for Rocky 10.